All right, welcome to a podcast. The attempt number 1,000, 1 million. I don't know. I'm gonna put a timer so I know how long I'm doing this for. This way. So once again, I'm back trying to do a podcast thing. Doing it as comfortably as possible. I realize I'm gonna come off as a kind of weirdo and a prick with the way I'm dressed, but I just decided to do this podcast thing right now, and that's how I was dressed. So that's just how I look when I am at home. So yeah, I'm doing it on the bed as well because I've decided to do this in the most comfortable way possible. Now, I've done what I'm doing right now a few times before, trying to introduce the idea of what I'm doing. Is this thing recording, by the way? Just checking. Well, yeah, it's recording. Introducing the idea why I'm doing this. Why am I doing a podcast? I don't know anything you don't. I don't know anything interesting. I'm not especially charismatic, also eloquent, entertaining. So I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this to practice so that I can become more charismatic, more eloquent, blah blah blah, all these things. So here I am. So I guess if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I've tried to do this a few times before, and it hasn't worked out. I wasn't happy with the results because I wasn't planning. I didn't plan this time around either. Not really. I mean, I've done it a few times, so I know what not to do. Or I know some things that I don't want to do. I don't know how much I will like the idea of doing this in this current outfit on a bed. We shall see. So yeah, there's no plan. Once again. So what the fuck am I gonna talk about? Yes, I know. So I am going to plan. I'm going to plan right now, right here, what this is supposed to be. So the people, I look up to many people, and I think eloquence and charisma are very important. Eloquence, is that the word I'm looking for? I like that word, eloquence. Oh, perfect. Eloquence. Yes, I think that eloquence and charisma are very important and powerful things. I don't watch any videos on YouTube at normal speed, except if I watch a music video. That's about it. Everything else I watch sped up, except for interviews of interviews of Orson Welles, interviews of what was the other? Alfred Hitchcock, for example, but especially Orson Welles. It just kills everything if you speed it up. He has so much control over his delivery. So there's only a few people that I don't watch sped up because I appreciate so much the way they deliver information. And many people that I am inspired by, I do watch them sped up. So I think specifically of podcasts that I watch. What is even a podcast? Because as I said at the very start, this is not aiming to be informative. Well, I suppose it is aiming to have some use at some point in the future. But I know it won't at the start. So this current episode, for example, won't be entertaining or informative, and it won't be watchable, because at the very least you need to have someone who has charisma, even if they're not informative or I guess charisma makes them entertaining. Anyways, this current episode has none of these characteristics that I am aiming for at some point in the future. Why did I say that? I don't know. I was going somewhere, but I don't remember where. So anyways, I think of the people when I think of the people I look up to, I ask myself the question, what is a podcast? So the ones that I look up to, the people I look up to have successful podcasts are quite different. I guess one of the biggest, he might be the biggest. Joe Rogan has one of the biggest podcasts. And I'm not certain, but I think it started with him just interviewing people who were his friends and that he knew. Actually, I should look up why he started it. But anyways, I remember very old videos of him and his buddies just joking around. And like, what's the motivation for that? And why are they successful? Well, now he gets everyone on them, and he's good at keeping the conversation going. So those are factors. So there's many. I should do some writing. There are multiple facets of what makes. I don't know how to define a podcast, but there are multiple facets of what makes one successful, or at least successful in terms of successful to me, that I would watch. Everyone has their own, I don't know, style, stuff they like. So Joe Rogan, it's quite informative, but he also can keep it entertaining. It's long form. Anyways, Joe. I don't really watch. Actually, I don't really watch Joe Rogan podcast that much. I'll watch a few guests that I'm interested in, or sometimes there'll be an episode that gets talked about for the guests that I don't know. I guess he has so many people. There's so many podcasts of his that I should watch, because he does get people, all kinds of different people. So that's that. Now, a podcast that I watch a lot of, and that I do feel a bit weird about, in a sense, is Chris D'Elia. I find him very entertaining. Now, the whole controversy that happened, 2 years ago, I don't know how much. I guess I don't know. I don't know the truth of it. Like, we don't know. And it's quite weird. But, yeah. I don't know, is all I have to say about that. I find him entertaining. And not sure what he did or didn't do. Anyways, he's very entertaining. He's very funny. And, for example, my brother doesn't find him funny at all. So he's not everyone's cup of tea. I find him funny. And he's purely entertaining. He's not informative. That's the only reason you watch his podcast, is for him being himself. Which, I'd say that's the podcast I watch the most. I'm not a comedian. And I don't know how do I say this. If that's the podcast I watch the most, and I don't watch or listen to that many podcasts, in fact, but if that's the one that kind of hits the spot the most, then it makes sense that I should try to replicate, maybe not the whole thing, but aspects of it. And but I suppose he has a comedy podcast because he's a comedian. I'm not a comedian, so what's relevant about that? I don't know. I'll say it again, I don't know. I mean, but anyways, I watched his first podcasts and he changed quite a lot, which, obviously, but it's interesting to see how much confidence he's gained, and is he being himself more or is he exaggerating more? I don't know, but he is more, at least that character of Chris D'Elia, he's more that now than he was previously, the more you go back in time, which is I should stand straight, which is just normal, isn't it? You do something a lot, and you do have to kind of push yourself, but you will improve. That's just the way it works. So that D'Elia as a host, I guess, I look up to. Joe, no, I'm not sure exactly, because D'Elia is the host, but there's no guests. He's the one-man show. And that's what I like when I watch it, and that's what I would like to replicate. Yeah. Another one is more controversial, but I think, how do I say this? Well, I don't think it would be stupid to act like he doesn't, what's the word? Like he doesn't, oh shit, my fucking beard is not here. My beard is not here, it's so fucking like sandpaper. Like he doesn't represent something that one should aspire to. No arms. Yeah, it's strange because to me, it's weird to say research, but I've watched a lot of his videos, a lot of his content, and it's annoying being the one that has to, being the one that's kind of defending and saying, oh, he's not that bad, blah, blah, blah. Because immediately people throw you in a bag. They have their own interpretation of who he is. And if you say anything good, they lump you in that bag, which I suppose in a way it helps me eliminate people who are not, I don't know who I wouldn't, no, it's not that. But people, how do I say this? People are just repeating what they've heard. And he's definitely exaggerating and playing a character. But where am I going? What am I saying? Where am I going? But it's undeniable that he's very charismatic, very, what's the word? Eloquent, right? Very eloquent and very charismatic. And whether you're a man who looks at his videos and like absorbs them 100% and doesn't see the kind of performance of it and the stuff that's exaggeration, like whether you're one of those, an idiot, or you're a woman who despises him but hasn't ever like really seen much of his content because you've heard things. Like, whichever side you fall on, he displays many positive and useful traits. I just realized I haven't said his name yet. Like, I was planning on just saying it at the start, and then I procrastinated, and now I haven't said it. And there's no point saying it. But that fucking procrastination, man, that's a problem. Anyways, I look up to him, 100% in terms of I do look up to him, not in terms of I endorse him 100%. But I look up to him. It's his success. So much of it is based on the fact that he can look into a camera and just speak. And sure, you can look at the fact that his content got cut up into small TikTok reels, and he says a lot of controversial stuff. He exaggerates a lot, and that was used, and that helps kind of propel his image. But it's clear that he's literally a master of speaking. Just whether it's in front of a camera or in public, he's fluid. He's fluid. So that's something I look up to, and that's something I'm trying to work on. In fact, so I did 5 podcasts like this, just rambling to the camera before this one, and I've put them on private. But the first one, I was so... If you think that I'm not... that I'm not confident and energetic and whatever and eloquent at the moment, the first one was so much worse. So, and that's normal when you do something for the first time. When you start, it depends on what actually, but certain things, you will see a lot of growth at the start. I don't know exactly like what category this falls into, but making these podcasts is something I have thought about for years, because this is like the easier version of speaking in public in a way. It's of public speaking. It's the easy version of that. I used to think it was really hard. I don't now. I don't think it's... Well, I think mumbling like a dumbass for an hour in front of the camera is not that difficult. Now, doing it well, that's another story. But that being said, in my first podcast, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm barely speaking at the start, because this was a challenge, and now it's easier. But so, I'm saying this because I have a lot of reservations about doing this. I deleted the other ones because, like, what do I talk about for an hour? Because I'm a human being. I've been alive for more than 2 decades. So naturally, I can talk for as long as I want, basically, because there's enough information and experience in my head for me to talk as long as I want. So what do I talk about? And in the previous podcast, I decided to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and work on my eloquence and 8 Mile myself. Now, if you don't know, I'm not sure if it's an actual expression, as in not, an actual, I don't know if people say that, but at the end of 8 Mile, Eminem's character has to go up doing a rap battle, which to some people is going to sound, I don't know, weird or funny, and I understand that. But it's essentially a battle of words where they each try to make the other one look bad whilst making themselves look good. Yeah, that's a pretty good explanation. And he goes first, and he talks about how shitty his life is, essentially. So he makes himself look bad in that regard, but good at the same time because he has the balls to say that, and good because the way you make yourself look good in that situation is through how you communicate your information, as in how you rap, how your rhymes, your flow, etc. So he can do that, but he kind of sacrifices the element of using his... So the delivery is how he makes himself look good, but he doesn't use the content to attack his opponent. I don't know why I'm breaking this down like it's fucking... I don't know, like it's serious or something. Anyways, but the point is, he outs himself, and that's brave, and that makes him look good in a way, even though he's talking about how shitty his life is. Anyways, I thought, so I'll work on my eloquence with this podcast, and I will 8 Mile myself, and as in I'll talk about gradually. I started with things that were not that deep, profound, but gradually I'll start talking about things that I'm very cagey about, and I haven't talked about. I mean, in the 5th podcast or the 4th, I was already getting pretty vulnerable, pretty open, and that felt like that wasn't right. That felt wrong. Yeah, because I know this is the right thing to do, talking to a camera like this, but I don't know content-wise what direction I should take. And it turns out it wasn't that hard to open up about things that have, what's the word? I don't know, not necessarily buried, but just things that are personal, that I don't talk about with people. That was quite easy. But as an artist, I had a conversation, yesterday, conversation with these guys who were saying that, they were saying, I mean, I was drunk and they were pretty sober, but they were arguing that an artist is, you can't just call yourself an artist, is what they were saying. You're an artist when you're seen as an artist, when people say that you're an artist, which I don't agree with at all. I call myself an artist. And you know what? I haven't checked. I kind of did, but I haven't really checked if I'm in focus right now. Well, whatever. Where was I going with this? Yes. So I consider myself an artist. And I understand their point. But I think it's stupid. The idea that being accepted, the idea that public opinion is what defines you, is wrong. You can be a shitty artist, or you can be an artist that most people dislike, or that most people think. Most people might think your work is not good, but that doesn't define whether you are an artist or not, at all. And so, sure, if you go to extremes, some people are crazy and they think they're things that they're not, or at least that most of us don't think they are. Those people exist. I can't just call myself an architect, I guess, right? My brother's studying architecture, and, well, it's clearly not easy. But so, those are not the same, are they? I'm an artist. I consider myself an artist. And the point was, as an artist, the substance you use to make work. Actually, I'm not gonna generalize. As an artist, the substance I use to make my work is my own experiences and my own, how do you call it? I don't think psyche is the right word. I don't know, something like psyche. It's like my essence, or psyche is the human soul, mind, or spirit. That's an all-encompassing word right there. Psyche, yeah. As an artist, you use everything that you are. So you use the small things and the big things, the trauma and something you saw on the bus the other day or you heard, all these things. And so releasing these in this form is, one, incredibly lazy, because I would say that every piece of art ever created, which I'm generalizing, and of course there's always exceptions to any rule, but I'd say most pieces of art ever created are expressions of people's psyche, people's experiences, and blah blah blah. And some might be quite shallow, and some might be a deep expression of pain and things of that nature. And so it would be incredibly lazy to just state these things in a video, when actually my job, so to speak, it's not really my job. I like and I enjoy and I feel that it's natural for me to release how I feel and my experiences through my work, whether that be photos, although I haven't really found a way to express myself honestly through photos yet. Most of my life I've drawn, so drawing is a way, but I found that writing I found is the way that works the best for me, and is the way that's the most, I don't know what the word is, the least abstract in a way. How do I say this? Because I can just pick experiences I've had and use them to write a story and change them somewhat, make them more exciting, and release, whatever emotions I'm feeling that way. With drawing, writing and drawing are linked because I like telling stories. Like, I would like to do children's books and graphic novels, so they're linked in that way. But I've never really expressed myself through a drawing in a profound way yet. It's weird to think about these things, because drawing has been my way of expression. Not necessarily of expression, actually, maybe. Well, of expression and of escape for most of my life. I always used to draw. Someone knocking at the door. Whoops! I knocked the mic. Let's not knock the camera down. J'arrive! Ah, putain! Don't mind me. Ah. Ça va? Je filme quelque chose? Ah, j'ai mal. Oh, shit. Oh yeah, I just realized. I just screamed like a fucking dumbass. I just kicked something. Well, I just kicked the wardrobe with my little toe. What is this? Oh God, I've got bruises everywhere. Actually, I got a bruise on my butt cheek on the left. It's like a serious bruise. Fucking uncomfortable. Yes, so 8 miling myself was not the right thing to do. not the right way to release these things. Also, another thing I wanted to work on, so being performative. That's something especially the people I just mentioned earlier, they're all performers. I mean, Chris D'Elia is an actual performer, a comedian. And being performative is difficult. Oh, someone's playing music. Being performative is difficult. I find it very difficult. It's weird. Being honest and truthful is difficult, and being, well, I guess, something I've heard many times is that to act well, to be a good actor, you're not playing a role, you have to be honest and to play yourself. Anyways, being performative is difficult. So, I don't know how many birds I'm gonna kill with this one stone. I'm not killing that very precious bird that I don't want to kill, but I'm gonna kill working on my eloquence, being performative. And how do I work on being performative? I guess I'm doing it. I don't feel like I'm doing it now. So yeah, being performative in my memory, as I want to recite things weekly. That way I work on memorizing a new thing. I'll do a poem today. And so reciting a poem, there is some part of performance in there, being performative. But yeah, being performative. Man, I was at work the other day and a guest said, well, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, a guest said, if you're uncomfortable, it means you're growing. Which, I've heard that before a few times. It's not some hidden gem of wisdom. But actually, I don't know how true that is. That's not entirely true. But it's something you can apply to your life, if you do it intelligently. And I've been very uncomfortable at work since I started working there. And gradually, I've grown. I'm somewhat uncomfortable right now. Where was I going with this again? Being uncomfortable. Yes. Being performative makes me uncomfortable. There's also another quote. I could just talk in quotes. Well, I couldn't, but wouldn't that be annoying? What is it? By the way, I have no idea if you can even attribute that previous quote to anyone. It seems a bit generic. I don't know. I won't check that. But a quote by Carl Jung, which I know a few quotes of his. I've never read any of his books. I only know stuff I've heard Jordan Peterson say. I'm not some kind of intellect. I just watch YouTube videos. The quote is intellect. Some kind of intellectual, sorry. The quote is, where your fear lies, there is your task. Once again, every single quote ever is not 100% true. But they can be used, And these quotes, obviously they're linked. Many things I'm scared of. Doing this, somewhat scared. I guess I used to be scared of being on camera, showing my face, my voice, my thoughts, all of this. Well, I'm even showing this room here. So there was fear in that regard. Shit, what? I've lost my train of thought again. Fear. Yes, but I feel like now I'm more scared, and it doesn't really make sense, because I know it doesn't make. I'm pretty sure it doesn't make sense. I'm more scared that I might just do these and not improve and grow, and that they may not ever become watchable. So technically this is my 6th. And I know for sure that I've improved since I started. But this current thing that I just made right now is not watchable. Sorry. So the idea that I might just make more of these dozens, who knows, and that they might all just make me look like a rambling fool. A boring rambling fool. That's the fear now. But so I guess there is fear and discomfort, then I just need to keep going. And so continuing on the theme of fear, being performative. The idea of being performative is something that makes me very uncomfortable and that I'm scared of. Obviously, I think most people are scared of many, many, many things. And it's not reasonable, to just say, I'll go towards every one of my fears. Or at least not all at once. So it's not like, I'm scared of acting, therefore I need to try to do that. Or is it? Like, it's a bit arbitrary. Could I just write down all my fears? But this seems like another what's the word? Motivational factor. Another thing that motivated me was just the simple fact of using my camera regularly and my mic and just using my equipment. I've been fortunate this year that I've had a few projects to work on. Filming makes up only a few. Filming is quite short. Well, actually, filming is not enjoyable in this current. Doing these podcasts, there's just a camera there, and this thing here, and me, so that I don't even see what I'm filming. And the editing, there is no editing really. But yeah, that was a factor. The idea that just I want to use my equipment regularly because it's fucking expensive. I don't like the idea of it just collecting dust. So, fuck, I was going somewhere. I had a direction. I lost it. Parfois, il faut se perdre pour se retrouver. Acting. This seems like a good vehicle. Just talk normally. Like a good platform or whatever to work on that. Work on being eloquent, all these other things, try to become charismatic. I'm looking at this, there's no useful notes here. Work on these and work on my memory, recite something every week, and work on being performative. So yeah, acting is something that makes me very uncomfortable and that scares me. And most of my life I've just acted as if it's as if I had no interest in it. How do I say this? Yeah, like acting. I don't like acting. It makes me uncomfortable. Therefore, it's something that I shouldn't do and it's not for me. Now, many people are interested in acting and want to be actors. And many people are shit. I wouldn't say that I want to be an actor. It's not what I'm interested in. But I would like to try to kind of experience it because it makes me uncomfortable. Also, as a director, something that I've heard many times is that having experience, it's just common sense. Experiencing being on the other side, being the actor and being directed is useful. to a director, it's useful. So being performative, acting, another thing. So yeah, this is the acting portion of this podcast episode thing. I'll recite. Well, it's not there, but anyways, I'll recite a poem by Charles Baudelaire. My grandpa recited it to my brother and I when we were kids a few times. We were supposed to learn it. I learned half of it when I was a kid. Then a few years ago, I kind of relearned it 3/4 of the way. And for the past 2 weeks, last week I learned it entirely. It's not very long. My memory is terrible. On top of my short-term memory being non-existent and me losing the thread all the time, my long-term memory is also terrible. So, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to stand not too far from this mic here. No, Mike, you agree? So, l'albatros. Souvent, pour s'amuser, les hommes d'équipage prennent des albatros. Vastes oiseaux des mers, qui suivent, indolents compagnons de voyage, le navire glissant sur les gouffres amers. À peine les ont-ils déposés sur les planches, que ces rois de l'azur, maladroits et honteux, laissent piteusement leurs grandes ailes blanches, comme des avirons, traîner à côté d'eux. Ce voyageur ailé, comme il est gauche et veule, lui naguère si beau, qu'il est comique et laid. L'un agace son bec, avec un brûle-gueule. L'autre mime en boitant l'infirme qui volait. Le poète est semblable au prince des nuées, qui hante la tempête et se rit de l'archer. Exilé sur le sol, au milieu des huées, ses ailes de géant l'empêchent de marcher. That's a good poem. I like that one. It's so cool. My grandpa knows so many poems. Long, like really long ones, and so many of them. The idea that you can just kind of... Well, it's not really something that's seen as cool. I've never seen it. I've never really thought until recently about that idea of having this catalog of poems. But for some reason now I do think it's very, it's cool. It's cool. But like in what situation? Because you immediately look like a kind of, what's the word? A prick. You look like an arrogant. What's the word? Not arrogant. Not condescending. I don't know. You look like an asshole if in any situation ever you start reciting a poem. Really. That's weird, right? But I think that's 99% true. In what situation did you recite a poem and anyone it's not even impressed, it's like appreciate it? That must be pretty rare. Well, when he recites a poem, I appreciate it, we appreciate it at home. Doesn't do it often. But it's like the long ones. When are you ever going to recite a long poem? I mean, obviously I'm not doing this with the goal of going to a party and reciting a poem and everyone hailing me as a great person. It's working on my memory, I'm being performative. So I guess it's mostly for yourself. I like the fact that I have this poem now. Alright, it's a weird thing to say. It's like I have this poem inside of me. I can recite it. Actually, it's quite strange knowing a poem by heart. It's because the words, like the way a poem is assembled is I don't know, The way a poem is assembled is quite beautiful, right? The way the words flow into each other, the sounds. So it's like this, it's this structure. And yeah, I don't know, because since I've started this, I learned this current poem for last week's podcast that I put on fucking private. So I'm learning another one now. And I just find myself reciting it, like in the shower. And it just feels good. Like obviously what you can get from a poem, from a well-written poem, a nice poem, is an artful expression of the poet's feelings and ideas, and an artful way of articulating the world. Like, so L'Homme et la Mer is the one I'm currently learning, also in French, also by Charles Baudelaire, because my grandpa gave me a book with a bunch of his poems a few months ago now. And there's this line that's so beautiful. Toujours tu chériras la mer est ton miroir. So the line is, tu contemples ton âme dans le déroulement de sa lame, dans le déroulement infini de sa lame. What the fuck, he's making so much noise, man. Sure. Tu contemples ton âme dans le déroulement infini de sa lame, which is you contemplate your soul in the, what is it, déroulement? In the, oh, he's listening. What's that song? Fuck. Listening to the blues. Why would I need to translate? I'm confused. No, this is French, mate. This is not English. Or is it? Can you say déroulement in English? Progress. That's not poetic. I guess flow. So you contemplate your soul in the infinite flow of its blade. Right, that's so beautiful. The infinite flow of its blade. Like, I don't know, all these things, putting all these things together, the idea of the blade, but at the same time, I mean, I guess the water crashing on the sea in the wave, being the blade, this infinite blade, but at the same time it's a mirror. It's like, I don't know, it's cutting something, not violent at all actually, but in this idea of the blade cutting, but at the same time it's a mirror. I don't know. It's a pretty neat line. I really like it, and saying it makes me feel good. And reciting the poem, and the thing is, also the idea that it's this beautiful line, but it's part of a bigger structure. So the line by itself is nice, but it can't exist by itself. It's balanced with the other lines. Yes. I don't know. The title of this video is Guy Who Knows Nothing About Poetry Talking About Poetry. Actually, it could be Guy Who Knows Nothing About Anything Talking About Everything. Guy Who Knows Nothing About Anything Talking About Everything. Yeah? Or guys, yeah, it wouldn't work with a guy who knows nothing about everything talking about anything. So guy who knows nothing about anything talking about everything. Fine, I need to take a note because I'll forget. I guess is that exceedingly self-deprecating? I don't know. Nothing about anything about everything. So yeah, poems are my new thing. I like them, and I like knowing a poem by heart. It feels good. So I want to learn more. Yeah, it's strange that in a few ways, I feel like that poems are not really a part of many people's lives. They're not, especially good poems, like shitty poems you learn at school, or like you might, I don't know. Poems are not really part of our lives nowadays. Maybe there were at some point in the past, before we had YouTube. Am I trying to come off as a dumbass on purpose? Well, that wouldn't make much sense, would it? But yeah, poems, I feel like they're not really a part. It sounds weird when I say this. Poems aren't really a part of our lives, but like music is, like, of all the art forms that exist, music, I don't know, dancing, filmmaking, all these things they're not just part of our life. They are our life. For like, they make a big chunk of our lives. But poetry, not so much. And yes, and also the fact that my grandfather that's his thing, and it's always been his thing, but I've never really paid much attention to it. Even now, it's very surface level, I guess. It's like, it's this beautiful, great. Obviously, I am very much. I just found a line that I really liked, and I'm acting like I've fallen in love with poetry. But through that line, I can, and just through the poem, I can see kind of the potential for me enjoying this. And it's weird to think that it was always there. My grandpa has hundreds of books that have always been there anyways, and he loves poetry. And I've never really given it much attention. And now here I am realizing that it's pretty cool. I wonder if you can hear the music next door through the mic. Well, it's been real. Yeah, I just said that. Maybe I won't post this. Maybe I will, and then in a few weeks I will take it down like the other ones. What am I doing? I'd like to do interviews as well. And I think, I don't know how much that would work actually. I'd love to do interviews where I'm sitting behind the person I'm interviewing and I'm completely out of focus. And so they're looking into the camera and I'm asking them questions and I'm behind them. Like, because that's not how you film an interview. I want to give that a go. Who will I interview though? Probably my mother. My brother wouldn't let me. My sister probably wouldn't either. Actually, I only have one mic. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I took down the previous. So I had done 5 and I took them down after I released the 5th from last week. Because I got a comment. Well, not because. There are multiple reasons. But one thing that kind of started the snowball effect is I got a comment on that video. And it wasn't a mean comment. It wasn't like mean or anything, but it just made me rethink. Am I willing? Am I prepared to put myself out there? It's weird. I mean, nowadays everyone is out there. Not everyone, but a lot of people are taking advantage of the fact that we have all this, all these opportunities. So it's not a big deal, but it's very uncomfortable. yeah. Still don't know where this is going and how I'm gonna, yeah. I am objectively more eloquent and confident right now than I was in the first episode. And that's all that counts. That's all that counts. But yeah, I need to find a way to make these, what's the word, cohesive. There you go. All right. Thank you. Thank you, camera. You're the best. And thank you.